Hello, everybody out there in YouTube country. This is Lieutenant Mark, and I'm on my vacation now, so don't bother me. I just finished reviewing Picard Season 3, and now it's time to take a rest. A well-earned little staycation in engineering. We get to relax here. We get to look at some comments, and we're going to kind of cover Picard Season 3, all the comments. We're going to respond, and we're just going to kind of reminisce. We're going to have the good vibes. We're going to listen to the Warp Core, and we're going to see what's going on with the comments, and we're going to break down what really went down, I guess, with Picard Season 3. There was a lot of stuff in that last episode. I was a little bit short in a few places with my review. Often when I feel bad about a review, it goes up and it does well. I don't know what it is. I'm just a little bit more hectic. Like, if an episode was freaking me out or I didn't love it, the review ends up long and meandering. And I just feel bad about it. I didn't love the review I did for the finale. So when we get to that point, there's definitely going to be a lot more to delve into. Right now, we're going to check out the very beginning of my quest through Picard Season 3. I am not a Nugget Blackheart. You're going to see a lot of names pop up that you're going to recognize if you've been here for a while, if you've been on the channel for a while. The episode surely showed that they can still do Star Trek if they wanted to. However, let us not forget the last season had a pretty strong start. Yeah, until it fell off a cliff. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm skeptical. Let's hope it maintains a solid story, successfully concludes the story of the next generation. Yes, it kind of did. It's interesting with hindsight looking at these, and this is from a short I did right when I finished the first episode. I did like the first episode a lot, and yeah, it stayed strong. Although I would say I think the first 4 episodes are the best. Like I said before, we got mini arcs. We got the Ryton system arc, we got the Daystrom station arc, and we got the Borg arc. And I think the first arc is the best, followed by the second, followed by the third. But it was still good. And Michael Papp is here with like timestamps, right? So what I'm going to do is this. The video in question is Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 1. Okay. I have one of these things, one of these devices here, and we can actually watch my review in the video. How crazy is that? It's like that movie, Inspection. Remember that, Inspection? So this is kind of like Review-spection. Let's see what Michael Papp is saying here. It felt like seasons 1 and 2 were relatively superficial in their substance. Yes, the content in this episode was more substantial for me. Yes, it's the revenge plot again. I'm hoping to have a surprising resolution. One not ending in the death of an enemy. Well, a place of non-violence can be reached, I'm hoping, but not altogether optimistic. I'm really so tired of the trust no one attitude. Yeah, you and me both. Unless we get a follow-up to Conspiracy. That's the only justification I'd take. Even then, I'd like a non-violent solution. Who wouldn't? Right? Who wouldn't? My inference from the Titan A's introduction was the Neo-Constitution class is a refit of the Luna. They talk like the ship's systems were physically the same, purging all that bebop. What should that matter if the Neo-Constitution... brand new ship. Well, look, did you ever wonder about this? That when Riker said he's purging all the jazz or whatever, aren't these computers enormous? How much did he have? Why did he need to purge it all? Like, what's he talking about? Like, can't you just file it under Riker? Or something like that? Yeah, it's supposed to be a refit of the Luna, but I don't. The ship's systems were physically the same. I don't know. I think it should have just been the Luna class. I don't know. Call me crazy. Come on, Data saying. I just called him Data. Data sang Blue Skies and Nemesis. We know. That's why they used it in Season 1. Contemporary lounge music has been part of the Trek for a long time. Vic Fontaine. Yes, I know Vic Fontaine. The best yet to come. Yeah, I know. I'm a little bit burned out on it's not the episode, like, it starts with music playing, and I know the music in Star Trek, it was music that occurred in the world, right? It was like music that you could hear if you were there. But a lot of times now they try to use music that's you can hear when you're there, but they try to play it in a different way. Like, they try to use it to set up a scene. Like, it's just, there's a difference between, like, the captain in his quarters playing an old-timey record player, right? Oh, just because it's a historical item, why not? That's fine. But then, like, when something's happening in slow-mo and you can hear the music, like, it's too cinematic, which is a horrible thing to say about something. But Star Trek wasn't really, Star Trek was kind of like, it's a little bit dry. It's a little bit like a documentary, right? Star Trek? I don't know. That's just what I'm saying. I know what you mean. There's lots of examples of old music in Star Trek. I know what you mean. I'm cautiously optimistic. The first 2 eps of Season 2 were much better than the rest. From Cow's Crazy 1. You were right. But Season 3 turned out a little bit better, but thanks for the comment. Okay, yeah, this thing. This has been confusing me. This is where I get into 10 Forward. 10 Forward was named on the ship because the 10th deck forward. Okay. That's how the bar in the past got its name. Time ripples, the kind that let Guinan see through the distortion. Yes. Yesterday's Enterprise also picked up on the significance of 10 Forward on the D. Made her imitate what was going to happen. Think of the ripples going backwards in time, not for the original 10 Forward. She never... Yeah, see, this is one of those... Like, I can accept this as some kind of an explanation. But did they say this? Like, did the creators, did the people behind the show, did they say that? Or is that, like, something you made up to, like, justify it, right? Like, there might... I mean, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, there's not that much of a difference. Like, I'm willing to accept that these things happen. Like, Elorians can, like, experience the flow of time in a different way. That's fine. But in terms of fixing... I mean, if you look at the behind-the-scenes stuff for interviews, like, I think Patrick Stewart says we get to learn how 10 Forward got its name. And I think he was talking about about the bar. Or no, he was talking about the ship. Or vice versa. Oh, and it was named 10 Forward because of the bar. But then this is kind of like 10 Forward was 10 Forward because of the bar, or backwards, the bar was 10 Forward because of 10 Forward on the ship, and it goes backwards. Like, were they thinking that far ahead? Like, I don't know. But thanks for the comment. It was interesting, and it made me think about Season 2 in a different way from Michael Papp. I love Captain Shaw. He's a nuanced character. I'll bet he's got biases against Borg. He does. Which is why he's dead naming 7. We'll hopefully see him change. Yeah. This ended up being a thing that went on for the entire season, and I thought it should have been, we wrapped it up, I thought wrapped it up very neatly early on, and then it just persisted, and it never went away, and it was just kept going on and on for the entire season. I thought Shaw nipped it in the bud pretty good in episode, I think, 4. But it kept on, and you'll know if you've seen the entire season that it goes on right to the last minute. But I do love Captain Shaw, and I said I would be very upset if he died. And for those who have seen it, know what happened. Shaw had every right to be pissed. His attitude, save the board biases, was justified. Two hoity-toity famous officers come on his ship and try to manipulate him. He's not going to have it. Completely reasonable. Then his own first officer sided with him. Like Picard or Riker would take that line down, except for his biases. Shaw's done. Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. It's just that, like, the first few episodes, 4-5 episodes of this season, it's really mired in confusion regarding the command hierarchy. Like, you'll notice that there's a few episodes where it's easy to forget who's in control of this ship. I thought anyway. Like Shaw, the writing kind of made him take a back seat a lot, and it was just kind of like confusing me because I couldn't figure out, is Seven instated? Is she gone? Like, what's she doing? Is she supposed to be in her quarters? Why are people listening to Seven? And then she's reinstated, and then turns out later I was wrong and she wasn't, and she gets reinstated way later. People were listening to her just because she was around and was Seven. It was just, we needed, like, I don't know. It needed to be a little bit more clear on what was going on in the ship. It's still good, though. Yeah, the strike is exactly as derivative. You're saying boring. Michael Papp. Yeah, I know. I hated the strike. The second I saw it, I hated it. Man, there's a lot of bad ships in Star Trek. Like, horrible design. It's not... Why would you design a ship to be scary? Did you ever think of that? Like, does that make sense? Right? Like, Klingon ships and Romulan ships, they weren't scary. They were just like a different design they were interesting. Right? And then you get like... But then as Trek went on, they started to get like ships that were just intentionally scary. The Narada, 2009, the Scimitar, and now the Shrike. And there's other ones too, but those ones come to mind for just impossibly silly designs that are just, oh man, it's big and angular, it's scary, it's a villain ship. What do you know? It used to just be that a ship had a unique and interesting design that looked practical in some way and just spoke to an alien design philosophy. And it was only scary based on what it could do, right? Like, you take the Romulan to Deridex, like, it's not super angular, like, it kind of has a sense to it, has a logic to it, right? And it's like, you're scared of what it can do. But nowadays, they want you to be scared on first sight, which makes no sense for Starfleet. If you were a Starfleet, I mean, you wouldn't know what this ship was until you scanned it long enough or went inside it or talked to the captain, right? But now it's like, oh, it's got all these prongs flying around everywhere. It must be a villain ship. Haha, wink, wink. Yeah, I'm glad to see the Shrike go. But it was interesting fighting it. I do like Raffi's story here. My mileage is going further than yours here. Looking forward to see if her handler is... Yeah, her handler was Worf. And I did like how it wrapped up. Whoops, sorry. I did like how it wrapped up with Raffi. It was alright. Like, Raffi got a happy ending. She got to reunite with her family. I think it was good, she's out. It's all good with Raffi at the end. I was happy about it. As someone who wasn't interested in Raffi, they managed to make her story wrap up well, and I was happy about that. Quantum tunneling, yeah, that is portals. The idea exists now as subatomic particles basically porting through stuff they shouldn't be able to go. Yeah, I think only learned about the science thanks to this episode. Picard just took a real world idea and extrapolated how it might. Yeah, classic Star Trek thing. Extrapolate based on incomplete scientific information. That's good. I bet the Daystrom engineer the tech was stolen from only wanted to help people. Probably. Now it's being used in the most horrific way. Frankly, I hope the engineer's Geordi's other daughter. It's an interesting thought. If not, that's okay too. I'll bet poor Raffi is going to feel so guilty she'll fall off the wagon. Please don't. She didn't fall, but it's easy for some to believe they had a drug addiction on top of that. She's going to use again. Then her handler, Worf, will... This is a comment on the first episode. Then her handler, Worf, will set her straight. Sends a message that falling off the wagon isn't the end. Yes, falling off the wagon or getting back on the wagon, I don't know how it works, is not the end. Absolutely, it's not the end. That's fine. Thanks, Michael Papp. Again, from the same person. Yeah, yeah, I guess I get you didn't mind the clue, the whole red lady, not red angel thing. Gives you the impression of how desperate she was to get her mission over. Red Lady was probably the best lead she'd gotten. I forgive the cliched clue on account of how the story seems to be progressing. I didn't feel they spent too much time on the clue, move the plot well enough. Like my hypothesis previously commented, if something unexpected happens, that could be even better. The stolen tech wasn't likely a weapon, it was portal tech, so terrifying indeed. Probably built to help people. Yes, you'll find that that's often the case. Things that were built to help people end up hurting people. It's a commonality, I guess, amongst multiple eras of human history. Their whole thing about the Red Lady clue, I'm glad that it didn't hang around forever. If this was like season 1, they'd be talking about the Red Lady clue in like episode 7. But it wasn't. So that's good. A few of the background strips are taken from Star Trek Online. Kind of sad the F is going out already. They just, how is the F gone? I played Star Trek Online, and the F was brand new. The Odyssey class. Like, it feels like it just went off the lot, fresh, and then just died, and then just went into mothballs. Like, what? I mean, I don't love the F, but it doesn't make sense that it's going away already. They just canonized it. Yeah, I know. Hopefully get a sweet hero sequence for STO fans. Oh, there's a lot of other Star Trek Online stuff in this. A lot of Star Trek Online has been brought into canon, which is good. You know, although the Star Trek Online stuff, I'll say, you can tell it's from Star Trek Online as soon as you look at it. I don't like the ship personally. Delights me to no end. The Enterprise have essentially a fan design. That's awesome. Gosh, I wish that was me. Thanks to a contest. Objectively speaking, it is awesome. A fellow fan got their ship made official. Doesn't matter to me if I like it or not. Yes, I'm super happy. It's amazing that happened. It's incredible. I was wanting that to happen before any STO stuff even showed up on screen. I was hoping for it. Wish that was me. Wish my ship had been on there. That'd be cool. I got lots. I hope you guys liked the 3D animated intro to the final episode I did. It nearly blew up my computer trying to render the Galaxy class, my ship, and the Borg cube in a decently good quality. The Galaxy class, that's hard to model. It's hard to model. The hardest ship ever to model, in my opinion, is the Galaxy class. And hard to render, all those weird curves. I could feel my computer chugging trying to show it. And it was a low detail model, very low detail. It was the models I tend to use for the intro sequences are low detail, like comedy models, like they're for fun, right? Like if I tried to actually animate ships at the highest fidelity that I can render them at, to try to actually animate that, it would take months and months and months to render anything. It would take months to render 5 minutes of something. So I just can't do that yet, anyway. Here I am complaining about the darkness. Ha ha ha, you're gonna trip on the ship because you wear visual radiance blockers constantly. Joking aside, super dark. I want brighter. Like, yeah, I do wear glasses all the time. And I do bonk my head and almost die every day. But at least I can take them off. It seems like on these new Star Trek ships, Starfleet ships, there's no light switch. I can't even find the light switch. Can somebody turn on the lights? Computer, can you amp the light by 500%, please? So dark. It's so dark. I saw a picture of some of these bridges in full lighting, and the detail, the beautiful design of the things, it's all gone to waste. The craftsmanship in designing these bridges is gone to waste. You can't see it. Just go look up a picture if you don't believe me, or maybe I can put one here. I don't know. I want Star Trek Titan, an episodic exploration show with Seven in the chair. Unless Shaw turns out to be a really great character. He did. So we can start the show with Shaw in charge. Oh, come on. Again, I mean, I had this moment watching Discovery as well. There was a moment where I was starting to settle in, like, in the season 1 of Discovery, I was starting to, like, kind of jive with the characters. Like, Lorca, before we knew he was a secret bad guy, Michael, Stamets, Culber, Ash, I was starting to kind of dig it. Like, I was like, okay, like, if we could just keep going with these characters and maintain a relatively normal show, I'm kind of down for it. Okay, alright, we can do it. But they just couldn't leave it alone. They couldn't just continue like this. And then similarly, in Picard Season 3, there was a moment where I said to myself, you know what? If we could just have Picard, Seven, Jack, Sydney, Tavine, Esmar, Mura, like Dr. Oak, like, and then we learned about engineering and heard who the engineer was, and we got a few more sets put in and turn up the lights. I could go for like 6 more seasons of it. I could do it. Like, if we got to this point where I was like, okay, I can handle this. We're good. But they can't leave it well enough alone. They got to keep stirring the pot, stirring the pot, stirring the pot. You can never get comfy, right? That's one problem you'll notice. Modern Star Trek. What is it not? Comfy. None of these are comfy. Like, there's a weird urgency and a scariness to everything. Make it comfy. Like a new Star Trek show. Just openly say, okay, listen, this is our crew. And we're just going to go with them forever. And we're not messing around with anything. We're going to turn the lights on and just get settled in, and it's going to be comfy. And the carpets are back. Let's get some comfort going here. And another one for Star Trek Picard Season Episode 1 from JoeCroninSHOW. Oh, thanks to Michael Papp if I didn't mention that already. A million thanks. I feel like Terry Matalis was given the show like here, try again, we effed up twice. Hopefully we got it right this time. Well, they kind of did. They kind of did. I don't love it as much as some people love it, but I would watch this over any season of Discovery, any past season of Picard. I feel like it's probably like not quite as good as maybe Prodigy Season 1. I think Prodigy Season 1 beats this. But this is definitely in the top 3 seasons, I think. Lower Decks, like Season 2, I think, is good. And we're moving on to Disengage. This is Episode 2. If Picard's dead, he is not retired. If a robot is Picard, is he an admiral? Can a robot be a retired, dead admiral, take over a starship? Undertaker 4518? Yes, if the synthetic life form is human enough to fool sensors, if the mental patterns match, if memories add up, they're a person, not a robot. Michael Papp. Yeah, it's the same old argument about Data, right? Like, Data is officially considered a person by Starfleet. I remember hearing that somewhere. He's considered an individual. Human enough to fool sensors. Well, you don't have to be a human. Yeah, I mean, it is a person, and whatever Starfleet says goes. If he's an acting admiral, then he just is. And there was some confusion. I distinctly remember in the first episode, Picard saying something about being retired and then he's immediately back in command. I don't know. There was some confusion for me with regards to his level of active command. But I think what Michael Papp here is saying adds up. The memories add up, and he's Picard, essentially, right? Like, Star Trek Picard, season 3, episode 2 review. Sneeds, Greed, and Deeds. What's he saying here? Hey, Paparino, what are you saying? What are you saying, Mr. Paps? You hear that? Can we just stay on the Titan? Can we just stay there? A sweet scent I too detect. A Titan series episodic with either Captain Seven or Shaw, provided Shaw gets over his Borg-based biases. 3Bs, very quick. Borg-based biases by the end of this season could happen in the show as well. Yes, exactly. Seven could still be the main character, but it's a bit of a DSC retread in that we eventually watch Seven. Yeah, it's a retread of the kind of Discovery idea of eventually seeing someone become captain. We're kind of tired of that. But yeah, episodic plot of the week with some character arcs over the course of the season. Perfect mix for Trek. Yes. Why does it always feel like it should be easy to do these Star Trek shows, but they get once and again, every time almost, they prove that they can't quite figure it out. So thanks, Michael Papp. Amanda Plummer did a really nice job introducing the ship. If we had that monologue right from the start in the trailers or during a special preview of the strike, I've had more time to see what the designers saw. I do admit my disdain for it is less than some. I'm starting to get used to it. Amanda Plummer is just delightful. She makes up for a lot. Yeah. Amanda Plummer single-handedly carries Vadic. Like, Vadic would be nothing without Amanda Plummer. Not everyone's going to agree, but I like Amanda Plummer. I liked Vadic. I wish maybe she had died either earlier or later. Not when she did. Like, later, and tie her into the Borg plot some more. But I would have rather not have the Borg. But in the interest of executives who want to see a Borg cube, I would have just had an original alien steal a Borg cube. And that original alien character was in control of Vadic, and he was the face. And they just say it, and you get there, and it's just some original alien with some original plot. That would have been cooler to me. But thematically, I know why we want to finish off with the Borg. I get it. But you can't pretend season 1 and season 2 didn't happen. It just happened. I just watched them. I'm thinking of just showing the season to somebody who hasn't seen season 1 and season 2 and see how they take it. I have that opportunity in my life to just show somebody season 3 without having seen the first 2. I wonder if I might. The Borg thing might play out better. I like Jack's Treknobabble solution. It's just pseudoscience enough for me. He needed to know the power level to get his devices setting properly tuned. That was my inference. This is where he asks the guy guarding the brig what the power level of the shield is so he can adjust his device to it. And there's numerous occasions later on where I wish Jack had another device in his jacket. Like, there's a few times where he just produces something from his person and it's like, oh, I got this. Because he's kind of like a swashbuckler like that. And there's a few other times where I wish he had some more stuff to mess around with. But it's not the end of the world that he could get out of the brig like that. But there was a few moments where I was saying to myself, who's in control of this ship? One of those moments where it's like, oh my gosh, get control of your ship, Shaw. Like, everyone just seems to have the run of the place. Jack has the run of the place. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Our character is in this situation. He needs to get out of it. What do we do? Well, this is Star Trek. Just make up some technobabble. Just make up some. Don't worry about it. The idea for Worf is now akin to a samurai, according to Dorn, whatever that means. I guess maybe a Klingon sense of pacifism. Yeah, and I don't know. It's like a lot of this stuff with Worf's like pacifism and like newfound like inner solitude. A lot of it was just surface level. And be honest, this was just classic Worf. What was different? It just hand waved some stuff away and a few different words to say. It's just all verbiage. There was no, real pacifism, I guess you could say. In fact, it might have even been worse, because it tended to be that when Worf fought somebody in this season, he snuck up behind them and just killed them. Like it's the opposite. The wires are crossed here. Still loved Worf this season. That whole thing was just window dressing, be honest. It was fun, though. I mean, it made for some fun dialogue. Michael Papp again. This is me questioning Picard's ability to actually control things here legally. I would say admirals, retired or not, can pull a rank in emergency situations. They need a hell of a justification, though. Still, Shaw could have fought him. He might have, too, if Picard hadn't played the "He's my son" card. I'll be sorely disappointed if we don't get some barbs from Shaw about Picard's family drama being wildly inconvenient. Well, yeah, Shaw is all barbs at the right time. Okay? Whenever you're messing up, he's going to let you know. And I think that was good about Shaw. The whole thing about it being Picard's son, the rules are the rules, but when you're involved with killing an admiral's son, it's just really different, especially when you have the excuse of that he's wanted for things in the Federation. But the caveat there is that we're not in Federation space in the Righton system. So it's actually, it's kind of the jury's still out on this. If you want to debate it, what should have been done here. The jury is very much out on that. You may feel one way very strongly, and then in a few minutes actually decide that you were wrong. I think it might be one of those things. It's definitely a moment where in TNG we would be in the boardroom talking about it. Do we give up Jack? Do we Do we say that we need to take him in for questioning because he's wanted here for stuff, and we're going to use that as a guise when really we're just rescuing him? So the point of the thing is that Picard's an admiral, and you command a little bit more official respect in that regard. I mean, everybody is respected, but I mean, the rules are the rules at the end of the day. And that's about it for today's review of Comments Extravaganza. I'm not going to try to do this all in one blow here. A few times I did that, it took hours, and it basically killed me. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to stop for a moment right here. I had an idea to... What the heck? I had this idea to actually rewatch episode 10 kind of in a video and have it really, really obscured so that you could see my reaction as it was happening, and I could better explain myself for what happened with episode 10, since my review felt a little bit lacking to me. Maybe you think differently, but... And then I was kind of okay, well, I need to find an example of somebody doing that so I know it's possible. And I kind of can't. I mean, I can barely watch a trailer on here. Anytime I react to something, it gets taken down. I gotta do so many things to obscure it. Maybe I'll find a way, and I'll be able to just kind of casually watch it in lieu of doing a stream reaction, because I can't stream here. We'll see what happens. But I'm Lieutenant Mark, and we're going to keep casually just checking out these comments, and I would probably recommend not leaving a comment on this video, because it's kind of recursive. I can't keep responding to the same thing, so if you get me in a comment loop where I need to eventually respond to this, it's kind of strange. But you get what I mean, right? So let's keep it going. Until next time, I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I'm going to see you next time. Bank on it.